Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Nitai Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Gauri Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. All glories to Sammal devotees, all glories to Sammal devotees, all glories to Sammal devotees. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiryet Shravtam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridayantasto Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suhasatam Nashtaprayasha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. So today we'll be covering Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 6th canto, chapter 7, Indra offends his spiritual master Bṛhaspati. So in the last class we covered Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 6th canto, chapter 6, the progeny of the daughters of Daksha. And near the end of the chapter, Sutta Goswami revealed that once Bṛhaspati, he left the demigods, he forgo them, he Tattva, he Tyag, he left them, and at that time, on the instructions of Lord Brahma, the demigods took Vishwarupa to be their spiritual master, or their Purohit. And this is where Parikshit Maharaj, starts with his inquiry. Because this is a very strange matter when you hear that the demigods were in the mode of goodness, could have offended their spiritual master, and their spiritual master could leave them. So it must be a grave offense, and he wants to know about this. So let's cover the very first verse, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 6th canto, chapter 7, verse 1. Shri Rajo Vacha Kasya heto prityakta acharyenatmanah suraha etad achakshva bhagwan chikshanam akramam gurau. Shri Raja Uvacha. The king inquired, Kasya hetoho? For what reason? Parityaktaha, rejected. Acharyena, by the spiritual master Bṛhaspati. Atmanaha, of himself. Suraha, all the demigods. Etat, this. Achakshva, kindly describe. Bhagavan, O great sage Shukdev Goswami. Shishyanam, of the disciples. Akramam, the offense. Gurau, unto the spiritual master. Translation by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from Shukdev Goswami, O great sage, why did the spiritual master of the demigods, Bṛhaspati, reject the demigods who were his own disciples? What offense did the demigods commit against their spiritual master? Please describe to me this incident. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatadaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Purport. Sorry, I forgot the purport. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, Saptame Guruna Tyakter Dever Adetya Parajitahe Vishwarupo Gurutvena Vrato Brahmo Padeshtaha. This 7th chapter describes how Bṛhaspati was offended by demigods, how he left them and the demigods were defeated, and how the demigods, following the instructions of Lord Brahma, accepted Vishwarupa as the priest to perform their sacrifice. Hare Krishna. So, there are 3 main incidents and 6 lessons that we can learn, at least 6 lessons. So, I'm given the time, I'm able to come up with 6 lessons that we can learn from this chapter. So, the first incident is Lord Indra. He has a very opulent assembly. We covered when Yudhishthira Maharaj was inquiring after Mayadana built him the great assembly hall. And it was so amazing. So he said that, is there any other assembly hall? He inquired of Devashi Narad, Sage Narad, as big as this. And he was eager to hear about some of those assembly halls. And at that time, Sage Narad, he described the assembly hall of King Indra as how opulent it is, how magnanimous, and how wonderful it has been set. And then he also describes the assembly hall of Dharmaraj, and also the assembly of, again, Yamraj and Dharmaraj, same personality. So Yamraj, and that's where he says that at the assembly of Yamraj, I saw your father, Pandu. And that was the reason that Yudhishthira Maharaj took to Rajasuya Yagya, so as to benefit his father. And also of Varundev, his assembly hall was described. So here, King Indra, he's in his wonderful, nice assembly hall, and all the Gandharvas are singing praises, and the Apsaras are dancing, and everyone is singing his glories, right? So when someone is singing your glories, of course you feel good. But if someone sings too much of your glories, that is not good. So, it's very interesting that when someone is singing your glories, they are trying to remind you of the good deeds you have done. In the old times, there is said that when the Brahmanas would grow old and they could not perform all the Vedic ceremonies and so forth, yet they would go to the assembly of the kings and they would sing their glories, reminding them of the good deeds they did in the past, so that they continue on the good deeds in the future. and also sometimes glorify their forefathers so that the kings would follow the steps, footsteps of their forefathers. So here, Indra is being glorified, and half of his throne is occupied by Shachi Devi. So of course, when someone is glorifying you, you feel very nice. But then if someone is glorifying in front of your loved one, especially your wife, you feel extremely nice. Right? So now, Indra is in this position, he is really getting puffed up. And at that time, sage Bṛhaspati, he enters the assembly hall. And Indra, seeing but unseeing, showing as if he has not seen, Hare Krishna, he ignores Bṛhaspati when he enters. And Bṛhaspati is the spiritual master of the demigods. But he ignores him. So this is the main incident that happens, that he does not get up and offer Bṛhaspati. He does not pay obeisances to Bṛhaspati. He does not offer a seat to Bṛhaspati. And sage Bṛhaspati, he's not offended, but an offense has been committed. So this is where the first lesson would come in, where the offense and sin, the difference is there. And he understands the position of Indra. And at that time, he becomes invisible to Indra's eyes. So he leaves the place. And he goes back home. So again, at this point, realizing the offense Indra has committed, at the lotus feet of his spiritual master, he immediately, repents. And he repents extremely. Like, he stops everything and he's literally asking everyone to look for Bṛhaspati. He actually repents, saying that, oh, what an offense I have done. I have so fallen. Just because of this little opulence, I have ignored my spiritual master. So he recognizes his mistake. However, the mistake has been committed, an offense has been committed, and Bṛhaspati has left them. So all the demigods, they are looking for Bṛhaspati. And Bṛhaspati, as it said, Parikshit Maharaj, he says, Paritaktya. Parityag kadena, as you say in Hindi. To give up his disciples. So Bṛhaspati has given up his disciples, and all his disciples, they are looking for him. The demigods are looking for him, but unable to find. And when such an event happens, who is more interested in this kind of news? The opposing parties, right? Anytime the ruling party is weak, the opposing party wants to take advantage of the situation. So this is where the second incident happens, where the demons, they immediately take shelter of Shukracharya, satisfies him, and then with his benediction they attack and win over the demigods. So they have dragged demigods out of their heavenly planets. And at this point, Indra and all the other demigods, they are very despondent. They are very disappointed. They recognize that this is a mistake they have committed, and now they have been defeated by the demons. So they approach Lord Brahma. So anytime we see, this is also a lesson where when we are, despondent or disappointed, we should take shelter of higher authority. So this is where the intelligence comes in, that they are very intelligent and they take shelter of Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma immediately chastises them. So, Lord Brahma, he is, Guru of the Sampradaya, Brahma Sampradaya. Guru means heavy. So he immediately says that Bṛhaspati, sage Bṛhaspati is a great personality. And you have offended at his lotus feet. And so there is no doubt that you have been defeated. And even he's saying that even Lord Brahma was in a position that because the demons have satisfied their spiritual master, Shukracharya, even Lord Brahma could be driven out of his abode. They have become so powerful. So this is where the lesson comes, that by the mercy of the spiritual master, one can attain great feats. Like we're saying, Mukham karoti vachalam, pangum langhayate girim. So one who cannot even speak can give great, preaching discourses. And one who is apanga, one who is does not have his legs, can even climb over the mountains. So this is by the grace of a spiritual master. That's the glory. So now, Lord Brahma gives them the solution, realizing their sorry state, their, state being completely been driven out of their heavenly planets. And he says that you should take shelter of Vishwarupa. You should accept Vishwarupa as your spiritual master, and if you can tolerate his being sided by towards the demons as well, because Vishwarupa's father is Sesh Dvashta, who is from the demigod side, but his mother is from the Asura side, so from the demon side. So if you could tolerate, you should accept him as your spiritual master. So along with giving a suggestion, there is a warning also given, which we revisit later on, as how that warning is so important that the Indra and other demigods should have paid attention to. Now all the demigods, and King Indra of course, the king of the demigods, they all approach Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa, the sage, Tvashta's son, he's an amazing personality. He has 3 heads as described. From one head he is chanting the Vedic mantras, from another mouth he is just drinking somaras, and from the third one he does all other activities. So, and he is very powerful. And when the demigods approach him, they tell him that even though you're junior, I mean you're like your parents, you're the age of your parents, we would like you to become our spiritual master. And here, somebody can say, how could somebody take a junior person to be their spiritual master? So that is revealed that one's seniority is described not just by the age, but also by one's knowledge. So because Vishwarupa was highly learned in his spiritual knowledge, in spiritual subjects, he was a senior to them. And on those grounds, he should accept, the position of their spiritual master and become their Purohit. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport describes what Purohit means. Puro is, the family members, the belongings, the Yajmans. Hit means the one who is engaged in the benefit of the family members or the Yajman, in this case, or the host. So, a Purohit, in this particular case, Vishwarupa would take the position of a priest or Purohit for the benefit of the demigods, because he would have to perform various sacrifices. And by performing sacrifices, the various offerings will be made to the sacrifices, and various benedictions will be received through the sacrifices. Knowledge will be received, and all this will make the demigods powerful again, so that they can regain their kingdom, the heavenly planets. So here, Vishwarupa, he also identifies one important matter, that the learned Brahmanas won't take to priesthood. Learned Brahmanas are busy in doing the Shastric study, the study of scriptures, and practicing devotional service. And if someone engages in priesthood, then a lot of their power and strength and energy is spent in these ritualistic activities, which is for the benefit of others, not their own benefit, not their own spiritual advancement. However, since the demigods were at the position of his parents, he has to accept their offer. So he is putting himself in a junior position. Now imagine, when Bṛhaspati came, Indra kept himself on that throne. He didn't come out. He didn't come down and offer a seat to his spiritual master. And here, Vishwarupa is actually giving a lesson that I'm still junior to you, and you are at the position of my parents. And I would take your request to be an order, and I will follow that order. And so Vishwarupa, he is performing various sacrifices, and by those sacrifices, the demigods, they become strong again, and they are able to win over the demons. And this is where this chapter ends. So these are the 3 main incidents happen. And there are 6 lessons that I am able to derive. The first lesson is, power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. So again, when we talk about the 6 limbs of Sharanagati, one of the limbs is humility, always being humble. And it is a very important linga, or, an element of Sharanagati. Sharanagati is the process of surrender. And Karparne, is the word specifically. So one has to be always humble, especially in front of his spiritual master. And even in front of sages. In the purpose, Srila Prabhupada reveals that how, when Devashi Narad, Sage Narad would come to the assembly of the Yadavas, and Lord Krishna, he would get up from his seat and he would, worship Devashi Narad. He would pay obeisances to Devashi Narad. And Devashi Narad knew that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vasudeva Krishna here is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, yet at the same time, I am his devotee and he is worshipping me. And he would accept his worship, Lord Krishna's worship, looking at the etiquettes that Lord is setting an example for the future generation. So we should take example and learn from the great personalities, and of course the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself is showing by his example. During the Rajasuya Yajna, what was Lord Krishna's service? What service did he take? Duryodhana was given the service of accepting gifts so that he would be bewildered as how many wonderful gifts the Pandavas are getting. But Lord Krishna took the menial service of welcoming guests, which is when the sages were coming, he was washing their feet with his own hands. His lotus-like hand touching the lotus-like feet of the great sages. And the great sages knew this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is our all in all. Yet at the same time, understanding the etiquette, of the custom of the time, they accepted that service. And Lord accepted his service. And he did it wonderfully. And when it came the time of, who should be worshipped at the end of Rajasuya Yajna, that was the last activity for the success of the Yajna. He was the only one. Means again, Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya and everyone agreed that it should be Lord Krishna who should be honored, who should be worshipped. So his position did not go down because he took to menial service. And that's why he's also referred to as Achyuta, one who does not fall down in carrying out his duties. And this is where we learn the lesson that power, when it pollutes, it can be very dangerous. And this is where Indra, his power had polluted his mind. And in front of his wife, he could not get up to honor his spiritual master. Now an offense has been committed. Now the difference between a sin and an offense is, sin unless enacted does not give you negative reaction. However, an offense immediately bears its negative reaction. So it may not be that the other person took to offense or not, but if you make an offense, it will have a reaction. And also, if other person takes an action to be an offense of yours, even that would have a reaction. And we hear about the Sanatana Goswami's story where he was in Krishna Leela and he saw how Krishna, was teasing Radharani and he laughed looking at this pastime. And there was another, great sage. He was passing and he was limping, He was apanga by physical characteristics. And he thought that Sanatana Goswami is laughing at him, at his situation, that he cannot walk. And because of that, Sanatana Goswami's chanting was affected. The most potent form of devotion, so his chanting of the holy name was affected. Just because somebody took an offense. So it's very important for us to understand that offense can be committed both ways. And Bṛhaspati clearly took an offense to Indra's action. And that's why he left the demigods. So we should always stay humble and not let the power pollute us. Now the third lesson is, of course, we approach the seniors, the advanced devotees, and we seek their shelter. So here the importance of spiritual master is identified from the second and third incidents where the demons immediately understood that Bṛhaspati is upset and now the demigods are without any power, without any support. And this is a good time. So they approach and satisfy their spiritual master, Shukracharya, and they attack the demigods and they defeat the demigods, drag them out of their kingdom. While demigods have been told by Brahma that they should have a spiritual master and they should accept Vishwarupa, the son of Sage Tvashta, to be their spiritual master. So this is where the lesson 3 comes in, that the importance of spiritual master. And from Prabhupada's time, there was actually a lecture, it's online, the importance of a spiritual master, where Prabhupada, he was sitting and he actually had a nice seating being made by the disciples, but he was sitting on a side, on the, a small mat. And there were a couple of reporters. They came to this gathering and they were asking Srila Prabhupada various questions. So the reporters were asking, so Srila Prabhupada, many spiritual gurus, they live in a very opulent situation, in a very rich setting. Are you rich? Srila Prabhupada's response was, I'm the guru of the richest country, America. Why should I not be rich? Do you understand? So they were saying, so do you have a car? Srila Prabhupada said, I have many cars. I have 12 cars in each of the centers. And even there is a Volkswagen bus. And the disciples, they take this bus to go even to the difficult to go to regions, means, to the villages and so forth, to preach. As he was describing, Srila Prabhupada said that actually in the Shastras, it is described that Sakshat Dharitvena Sambhasta Shastra Uktas Tatha Bhagavate Vahe Sadbhi Kintu Prabhu Yaha Priya Evatasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. So in the Guru Ashtakam we sing the 7th verse that all the scriptures and all the great personalities have confirmed that the Guru should be treated as good as God. He is like God. Of course, the Guru never says that he is God. Guru always says that he is a servant of the God. And Srila Prabhupada, when he was asked that, are you the servant of the God? He said, I am the servant of 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 the God. So he placed himself so further down. And in this particular case where this interview was going on, Srila Prabhupada very clearly stated that yes, a guru should be, treated just like God. And there was one of his disciples in the background noise that comes in that, yes, Srila Prabhupada is the most exalted personality on this planet Earth. And of course, he should be treated like God. So this is where the disciples were also showing the same attitude towards their spiritual master. Now, a spiritual master, why should one take to a spiritual master is also sometimes a very important question. People ask this question. Why should I have to take to a spiritual master? And in our disciples course, we do cover that there are 3 types of spiritual masters. So, what are the 3 types of spiritual masters? Shiksha Guru, the one who gives knowledge. Diksha Guru, the one who gives Diksha, the initiation into the spiritual process. And Chaitya Guru. Lord Krishna as Paramatma sitting in our heart as Chaitya Guru. So he is the one who gives us and who blesses us with the mercies that we can have a Guru outside, right? That we can have a Shiksha Guru, the one who gives knowledge, and Diksha Gurus. And in Bhagavad Gita itself, Shri Shri Gauranitai ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnavind ki jai. So it's very important for us to accept a spiritual master. And in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna identifies, chapter 4, verse 34, Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya updeshyanti taj jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. Tad vidhi. As per the process. So there is a vidhi, there is a process that needs to be followed. Pariprashnena sevaya updeshyanti taj jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. That one should surrender, take shelter of the lotus feet of her spiritual master, a bona fide spiritual master, and should serve the spiritual master and pariprashnena sevaya. Sevaya means should serve the spiritual master and inquire from him submissively, in a humble mood, not in a challenging mood. Right? That's also very important. Attitude, one's attitude of gratitude identifies one's altitude. So it's very important to have the right attitude when you approach your spiritual master. Excuse me. So here, a process has been identified by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's not a man-made process. So, it is very important. And why one should inquire? Because Tattva Darshana, So one who has seen the truth would be able to reveal the truth to you. If someone is only speculative, they will not be able to reveal the truth. So it's very important to surrender to a bona fide spiritual master. And Brahma Bhramite Kon Bhagyavana Jiva Guru Krishna Prasadipaya Bhakti Lata Bija. So what is the benediction of taking shelter of a spiritual master? Brahma Bhramite Koi Bhagyavan Jiva. So this, Srila Prabhupada gave the example of Ferris wheel. Sometimes we as souls get bodies which are of demigods, sometimes in the Netherlands, sometimes in hellish planets. So we are like a Ferris wheel, sometimes going up, sometimes coming down. We are constantly wandering in this material universe, in this material world. Kauna Bhagyavan Jivas. But, one lucky soul. And why is he lucky? Guru Krishna Prasadipaya. By the blessing, by the mercy of Guru Krishna. Krishna as Chaitya Guru is sitting in our heart, and then the Guru, the spiritual master who is appearing from without. So Chaitya Guru, the super soul within our heart, and the spiritual master without, outside, as a person, can give us what prasad, what mercy? Bhakti Lata Bija. The seed of devotional, the creeper. And it is for us to really take care of that creeper very carefully. And humility is one of constantly surrendering, serving the Vaishnavas, inquiring from them submissively, and continue to chant. Just by raising our hand, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And Srila Prabhupada gives the instruction that minimum 16 rounds should be chanted. And during the special occasions like today, Ekadashi, minimum 25 rounds should be chanted. So today is a very auspicious day from that perspective. Today is the fasting for Thana Ekadashi is there. There is Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj's disappearance day is today. And the first day of Bhishma Panchak. So during the 5 days of Bhishma Panchak, if you follow the Bhishma Panchak as per the given regulations, then you get the benefit of the whole month, it's said. And then Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. He was the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. Now sometimes when we look at, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj was the seminal son of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And he was highly learned personality. He was greatly, learned and scholar. So he approached his father. But his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur asked him to take shelter of Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was not educated. He was illiterate, but he had received the mercy of having listened to the discourses and following the practice of his spiritual master, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was the father of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur took shelter of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, that also shows us that how one should be humble enough to follow the instructions of the senior Vaishnavas, which he, in this case, was his father, who was the spiritual master of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and he took shelter of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Now demigods could have immediately said to Lord Brahma that why don't you give us the shelter? But no, they took to his instructions. He said that we should take shelter of Vishwarupa, so let us go and approach Vishwarupa. And Vishwarupa was very powerful at that time. So we should take to the shelter and follow the instructions of senior Vaishnavas. Now sometimes it is also said that, why should one take shelter of a spiritual master? So in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reveals the secret to Sanatana Goswami. He says, Ragahina jana bhaje shastrera agyaya Vedi bhakti bali tare sarva shastre gaya. those who have not attained the platform of spontaneous attachment in devotional service render devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master according to the regulative principles mentioned in the revealed scriptures. According to the revealed scriptures, this kind of devotional service is called Vaidhi Bhakti. So we have heard about Raganuga Bhakti, which is following, one of the Ragatmika personalities. But that is a higher stage when you have developed that love of Godhead. Here, when you have not developed that spontaneous devotional service, you take shelter of a senior, bona fide spiritual master, of course. Here, it is given very clearly that guidance of a bona fide spiritual master according to the regulative principles mentioned in the revealed scriptures. And Lord Krishna himself revealed in Bhagavad Gita that one should take to the shelter of a spiritual master and serve him very nicely and inquire from him. Now sometimes people are bewildered that, okay, these are the only two things and then we can do whatever we feel like, right? No, it's very important that we follow the complete set of instructions, not just the ones that suit us. That, okay, we only heard about this, we don't have to know anything else. Now one of the instructions, again in Madhya Leela, Chaitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is revealing to Sanatana Goswami how one should take shelter. He is revealing Guru Padashraya Diksha Guru Rasevana Sadadharma Shiksha Pracha Sadhu Maganu Gamana. On the path of regulative devotional service, one must observe the following items. And there are 5 of them. First one is, one must accept a bona fide spiritual master. One must accept initiation from him. It's not that you have accepted your spiritual master, that okay, he's my spiritual master. But then you have not approached him. That do you accept me as well or not? So one must take initiation from him. One must satisfy with sincerity. Then third is, one must serve him. One must serve the spiritual master. And there are 2 ways to serve the spiritual master. What are the 2 ways? Vapu and Vani. Vapu is giving service to the physical body of the spiritual master and giving the benefit, services to make the spiritual master, comfortable in his services. And then Vani is following the instructions of the spiritual master. Now that I talked about Vapu, I am reminded of an incident where Srila Prabhupada, there was temple being built at Bombay and crores of Indian rupees were being spent. And there was always this contemplation that every time Prabhupada had to travel in India to any of the centers, the disciples had to borrow the cars from the life members sometimes. And Prabhupada said, this looks very bad. We are spending crores of rupees, but we don't have a car. So when I come to the station, or to the airport, you have to borrow the cars from the life members, and this is not nice. What should they be thinking? This does not look nice. So this was being contemplated for many years, and then Srila Prabhupada received a letter from a European disciple who said that Srila Prabhupada, I will buy a Mercedes in Germany and I'll drive it to India, for your service. So Srila Prabhupada said, yes, that's very nice. But then the disciples in India revealed to him that this disciple intended to buy this Mercedes from Srila Prabhupada's book trust fund. Then Srila Prabhupada said, this is like a famous story. Once there was a spiritual master visiting his disciple, and his disciple held a very grand, celebration, very opulent way. He welcomed his spiritual master, served his spiritual master. And his spiritual master said, but you don't have so much. How are you able to arrange this? He said, spiritual master, everything belongs to you. Everything belongs to you. So he was taking a service that this is in a grateful mood. This disciple is, showing his gratitude and treating me so nicely. And after that event, when the spiritual master went back, he looked at his bank account. He has 0 money. He has no money left. So then Srila Prabhupada told that disciple in Europe, don't buy it if you're going to buy it from the book funds. That is not the service being asked for. So it's also very important that we use the service properly, right? When we serve the spiritual master, even the Vapu aspect, we serve them. Vani aspect, following the instructions, we serve them with the spirit, with the right spirit. And one must receive instructions from the spiritual master and make inquiries in order to learn devotional service. So when one has taken initiation, it is not the end of the journey, it is the beginning of the journey. You just got initiated, not terminated. So your devotional service has just started. And you have to progress on that path. So you inquire, you listen to discourses on a daily basis. My spiritual master, he always says, are you reading Bhagavad Gita daily? Are you reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam daily? Are you chanting your rounds attentively? Are you improving the chanting of your rounds? So again, that's what we should be taking to heart, that we should be chanting our rounds very attentively, trying to improve our knowledge. And one must follow in the footsteps of the previous acharyas and follow the directions given by the spiritual master. Now, this is an extra instruction that we did not hear in the previous, where one must follow the footsteps of the previous acharyas. When we hear Tadvidhi Pranipatena, Lord Krishna is revealing, he is saying that you should inquire from your spiritual master, and those who have seen the truth can reveal the truth to you. And of course, when the truth has been revealed to you, you are in a position that you should be able to reveal it to others. So this particular point expands on that one should follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas. Now this also reminds me of an incident where Srila Prabhupada, once there was an elderly Indian gentleman who was coming to the temple, and he had become critical of Srila Prabhupada. He went to Srila Prabhupada and said, why do you criticize others? Vidya vanai sampanne brahmane gavihastini shuni chaiva shapakicha pandita samadashina. So as a pandita, you should be samadashina. You should look at all others equally. And Srila Prabhupada was very strong against Mayavadis and Sahajiyas and so forth. He's like, I distinguish. That is a very high platform, Srila Prabhupada would say. Just to pacify him, he was saying, that's a very high platform. Pandita Samadashina. I'm not on that platform yet. I distinguish. I have my Bhagavad Gita, and this elderly gentleman would actually challenge Srila Prabhupada, that what have you done? These books were already there. You just translated. Srila Prabhupada said, yes, I translated Bhagavad Gita into English, and I have my acharyas. I'm following in their footsteps. And I'm making this knowledge freely available to everyone. When Srila Prabhupada said that, the gentleman was dumbfounded. So afterwards, the disciples and the devotees, they heard him saying that yes, he is looking at everyone equally because he is spreading the knowledge without discrimination. The knowledge through Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, he is spreading that without any discrimination. And that is Pandita Samadashina. He is looking at everyone's benefit and he is, providing them equal opportunity. So a spiritual master provides everyone equal opportunity. However, some disciples take to those instructions, make it dear to their heart, and that's why they are able to progress. Srila Prabhupada himself was an example. He was a Grihastha himself, he was not a brahmachari, right? 11 years, first time when he met after that in 1922 and 1933, after 11 years, he took initiation. He waited, he was always moved by the first instruction he received that his spiritual master has said that he should, what should he do? Preach this knowledge, take this knowledge to the Western world, to the English-speaking world. And he took to that instruction which he had received when he was not even initiated. From the very first meeting, he took it to his heart and he converted. So just by following the instructions of his spiritual master, he is so glorified. So imagine, again, one should take to the instruction of spiritual master and follow in the footsteps of acharyas. And what have acharyas done? They have taken to devotional service as their heart and soul. They have taken to serving Lord Krishna as their heart and soul. They have engaged everyone. Srila Prabhupada himself engaged everyone in devotional service. And at the same time, he also gave the instructions that you should study scriptures and speak from your own realizations. As you experience bhakti, the realizations are formed. You experience that everything is so wonderful when you take to Krishna bhakti. From the outside it may appear. Means even Krishna Chandra, King Krishna Chandra, when he came to know that there is a great sage living at the outskirts of his kingdom in Bengal, he went to the sage and he said, "Oh, you're living in such a poor state. You don't have enough cloth," because he only had lion cloth. He said, "No, I'm very happy. You know, there is a tamarind tree. I get tamarind from this. My disciples, they go out begging for alms and they get some rice, and my wife, she cooks tamarind rice and we eat and we are very happy." At that time, King Krishna Chandra realized that this sage was fully self-sufficient and he was happy in his current state. From outside, his disciples may look like they are in a miserable state, but internally a true disciple, a true devotee would always believe that everything is wonderful around him. And everything, even inauspicious thing, is actually a benediction because it's removing the bad karmas. Right? Your account of bad karmas are going down because of the bad things that are happening. And when the good things are going on, then your account of on the good activities, past activities is going down. And both ways, one stays stable and should continue to engage in devotional service, taking the instructions of the spiritual master as heart and soul. And what other things that acharyas have done? They have written books. Sometimes I see disciples, they are saying that, no one should write books. All the disciples in the acharyas, the parampara, they have written great books. We refer means these are great, references. If we did not have Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, can you believe what would happen to us? Nectar of Devotion is such a potent literature. When Srila Prabhupada translated, he gave a summary on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in Nectar of Devotion. And it is such a, potent scripture where we learn so much about devotion service. How to take to devotion service. What is the pure devotion service? How should one behave in front of a spiritual master? How should one behave with other Vaishnavas? How should one behave with the envious and with the innocent? We learn about so many wonderful things through these scriptures. So this is where, this particular chapter means, again, I kind of covered quickly the 6 points. First being that one should not be proud, one should be humble. Second being that one should always honor the spiritual master. Third being, of course, to honor the spiritual master, one should accept a spiritual master and take initiation from the spiritual master and following the instructions. One should always seek shelter to continue to make progress. Serve the Vaishnavas and at the same time make inquiry for one's advancement. One should do 2 types of sevas, right? Vapu and Vadi, which is following the instructions. So that is for our betterment. And Guru means heavy. So sometimes the Guru would chastise, like Srila Prabhupada. Once he was, there were different disciples, they would take position, or sometimes the devotees, they would take position outside Srila Prabhupada's room. And when he would ring bell, they would immediately go and, ask what does he want and to make sure that he's comfortable. And once Navyogendra Maharaj, he was in Srila Prabhupada's room, and Srila Prabhupada rang the bell to call the boy who was outside, and this boy was not there. So Srila Prabhupada became very upset and he asked Navyogendra Maharaj to go and look for this boy. Navyogendra Maharaj, he brought this boy to Srila Prabhupada's presence. And Srila Prabhupada was so angry. He chastised this boy with so strong words. The boy was shivering, and Navyogendra Maharaj, who was not the object of his chastisement, even he was shivering with fear, looking at Srila Prabhupada's anger. And at that time, Srila Prabhupada, he asked this boy to leave and told him to stay outside and not be negligent in his service. And then Srila Prabhupada started conversing with Navyogendra Maharaj as if nothing happened. He was just normal. So at that point, Navyogendra Maharaj realized that how transcendental even the anger of Srila Prabhupada was. And his chastisement to the devotee was for the benefit of the devotee. So that's how, means again, if our spiritual master chastises us, we should accept it as his mercy. Otherwise, we are making so many mistakes. Who's there to correct us? It's our teacher. Our teachers would correct us. The seniors would correct us. so that we can make advancement. So it is very important for us to take to heart, and today is a very special day. So again, one of the instructions also we get from Shastras regarding today's date, and this is very important. I just wanted to quickly cover 4 points. Today is Utthana Ekadashi or Haribodhini Ekadashi. If you fast till noon, the sins of the past one birth are taken away, so you don't have to suffer. Now all those reactions are gone. Now the interesting, yes, you have a question?
What if you drink like water? Does that break the fast?
Actually, water is known to break and not break from Amrish Maharaj's story that we hear. So fast is, we can talk about this later, I can give you more elaborate. But when you fast from certain things, so you don't take. So if you say water is something that you will accept, you are still fasting from all the other things except water. If you don't eat till night time, sunset, then all the sins you committed in the past 2 births are taken away. However, if you perform a complete fast for the 24 hours of the Ekadashi day, then your 1,000 births sins are eradicated. But the 4th one is the most potent, which is, if you stay awake all night and engage in devotion service, then you are guaranteed at the end of this life to go back home, back to Godhead.
You have to stay up
All night in devotional service. So again, when you want an ultimate goal, you have to make an ultimate sacrifice. Not just staying awake, but also engaging in devotional service. And of all the sacrifices, chanting of the holy name is the topmost sacrifice. In Bhagavad Gita, it is revealed. The chanting of the holy name is the topmost sacrifice. So one should spend more time in chanting of the holy name. So and at the same time, from Dhruv Maharaj's story, we also remember that we should not go back to the bad practices. Okay, so I'm guaranteed, now I can do all kind of nonsense. No. Parikshit Maharaj calls this Kunjara Snan or Kunjara Shashvat, which is the bathing of an elephant. An elephant goes into the water, nicely bathes itself, then comes to the land and puts dirt all over it. One should not do that. And even Dhruv Maharaj, he was lucky, he was very fortunate that Manu himself, Swambhu Muni, he came and he said, don't kill all these yakshas, because they are innocent, and even this action could cause problem to our family, because Kuvera, who's a yaksha, may be upset. So he warned, even Dhruv Maharaj, who was such an exalted personality, who had attained the love of Godhead, to not, go in the wrong direction. So we always seek the blessings of our Vaishnavas and always seek the mercy so that we can stay, headstrong in our path of devotion service. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? We'll discuss that at length. Hare Krishna. Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Kori Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Go Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.